I was working on some new theme music. Thought we might get a more tough. Up our image. Get a tougher theme song.
Yeah.
You wanna have fun?
Is that the really nasty dub version?
It's like the dubstep where your organs come up out of your mouth.
Yeah, I love that version.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
But then there's a Swedish chef in the background.
Yeah. I'll play that part. I'll be that guy. I love it.
Okay.
Happy Valentine's Day, brother.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
My least favorite holiday of the year, by far.
The least?
Of the holidays that I'm aware of.
Sure.
I'm sure there's probably holidays that I don't know anything about that I would like less.
Yeah.
But this of the Anglo-Saxon Hallmark holidays.
Yeah.
This is I've had more bad Valentine's Days, I'd say, than I've had any other. Like, no one really has a bad Halloween unless you get really drunk, I suppose, and something bad happens to you, which that never happened to me. But maybe when we were kids. I didn't get the candy I wanted. That was like the worst Halloween that I ever had. But for some reason, there's just more pressure around Valentine's on all, in so many ways, whether you have a relationship or you don't have one.
Right.
It just, I've never, it's not that I've had a ton of bad ones. I just as a base level, I don't care. And then it can go south.
Yep.
Quickly. So happy Valentine's Day to you.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I mean, we do it ironically. I don't know if that's necessarily better, but Wait a
minute.
What?
You do it ironically, meaning that you celebrate your hatred.
Yes. No,
you're celebrating your love.
Right.
You hear my finger quotes?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's not an important day. It's not an important day for either of us. But so there's no flowers. I don't do that thing, though. We have in the last couple of years made the day an excuse to go out and get deep dish pizza in the shape of a heart. Of a fake heart, Do they have to have a special pan to create that? I guess.
That kind of dish? They break it out once a year.
I think they break it out once a year. Lou Malnati's, if you're not aware of it. It's just funny. And it's just an excuse to have deep dish. There's no, but, I'm very lucky in that way that I'm with someone who doesn't put that kind of pressure. Lindsay's sort of the anti-holiday person, period. Like in general, and she will. The only ones that she cares about, she likes St. Patrick's Day because she can drink, and she likes Halloween because she's
any holiday.
Yeah, but especially
Except
that
Easter. No, we used to get really drunk on Easter.
Yeah, just sit around. Yeah.
To get drunk. Jesus, drunk.
But that one, and she likes Halloween because of the creativity of becoming someone else
on Halloween.
Yeah,
you guys. Yeah. I mean, you've had just year after year of really great costumes.
Yeah. It's mostly her. She's pretty much down for that. But Christmas, like none of it is a big deal. None of it is I have to stop my world, and so that's I feel lucky in that way. But it did today, the sort of lack of our celebrating, your lack of celebrating and my lack of celebrating, kind of in this ironic spirit of Singles Appreciation Day, we thought that it would be fun to test out one of our sort of theme topics for the BivBros Show, the podcast.
Yeah. BivBros Show, the podcast, Ask-a-Biv. Or was it Dear Bivii?
Dear Bivii.
You guys tell us. Tell us which one you like. Ask-a-Biv, that's all one word. Mm-hmm. Or Ask-a-Biv. Or Dear Bivii, because Bivii is the correct plural for bivins.
Yep. That's true.
In case you were wondering out there.
I'm sure they were.
Dear Matt and Evan, how do you pluralize yourself?
So we asked this morning, we asked the internet we asked for some Dear Abby-esque questions. Burning questions. I even gave people, I built a form system to collect these in case people wanted to ask questions that were nerd. that were sensitive, and they didn't want to give their real name. But no, everybody gave their real name, even the people that filled out the form. But I still see on
this list, but there's people, there are ones that are marked yes, they say that we can mention their name, clearly say yes, and then the ones that just say nothing means no.
No, at that point I just stopped doing yes or no because they ask on the internet. I was like, well, if you're going to ask on the internet, obviously you don't care whether we know who.
You don't care. Oh, so we're going to call you out.
Yeah, we're going to call out. No, I think I had an idea. I think what we should do is we should first read the question and then name the person based on their question.
Oh, like try to guess? Well, I've already read all the names.
No, I mean Dear Bivii, I'm really having a hard time getting some rest because I'm out on the farm every day. Sleepless in Suwannee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Question first.
Yeah.
And then, I got it.
You get it.
Okay. Sure.
And then we'll give the real name too, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how do you want to do this? Do you want to just run down the list?
Oh my gosh.
Top to bottom?
You know what I also did, brother? I also do have a chunk of dice right here. We could total randomization. All right, so let me remove a couple of silly ones real quick that I created.
Yeah.
And then we're left with 18.
Okay, that's plenty. We got plenty of die for that.
Yeah. Oh, we just got another one, which I'm directly into Airtable, which I like. So, yeah. So we could absolutely do a 3d6, right? Well, that would cut out some of them, wouldn't it?
You don't want to just roll a 20?
Yeah, just roll a 20 and see what happens. I think.
And if you get, so we have 18 right now, and if you get 19 or 20, that will just mean 18.
Yeah.
Or the highest one that we haven't read yet.
Yeah, and I'll just roll and we'll see if it happens. I love how this is coming together. This is random. As many things that we do in our life, just off the cuff, rando style.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I got my wife. I rolled the dice.
All right. And the first question is number 1.
Oh, well,
yeah. How about that?
Appropriate.
Yeah. So the question is lobster rolls.
Well, now you got to read this correctly.
What? Sorry, go.
Lobster rolls.
Thank you.
Do your best Mainer accent.
And lobster rolls. Horrible. Sorry.
Lobster rolls. Couple two, three lobster rolls.
I've been in Chicago too long. I can't
Down on Ashland.
I was trying to channel Fred Gwynn from Pet Cemetery #1. It failed.
Oh yeah.
So you know better than me.
Well, I used to be able to do I'm sure our old friend Molly would not agree with this. But I used to do a passable Mainer accent, but no, I'm not going to try. It's hard. It's harder than you think.
It is.
Try it. Lobster rolls.
Lobster.
Anyway, it's the rolls part. Anyway, let's move on. Lobster rolls, hot or cold. Take it away, brother. Hot or cold? Have you ever had a lobster roll in Maine?
I have indeed in Maine, and I have to say I would take it either way. I really would. I know that's a cop-out question, but here's the thing: if I had a lobster roll outside of Maine, of the place to get a lobster roll, then I would only want it hot, I think. But if I'm having it in Maine, I truly would eat it no matter what, because it's so superior to any, it's like a tortilla outside of Mexico. It's like a Chicago dot outside of Chicago. It's, you don't want to mess around. So
right.
That's my vote.
Anything outside of Maine is basically you're going to Red Lobster. Yeah. You may as well.
Amen. Yeah. It's true.
Okay. So you're saying any which way but loose in Maine, but hot outside of Maine.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. I would say this. I would say number one, it depends on the outdoor temperature, because oftentimes if you're in Maine, you can roll up on a lobster stand, and that is the best way to do it, right? And so if it's really hot outside, like a cold lobster roll is very refreshing. But the thing is, if you get a lobster roll where the lobster is still warm, that can mean that it's the most fresh, like right out of the gym or jam. And so that can be the best experience. I would say warm, not hot. Hot
Sure.
is extreme. Well, this is the question. They said hot or cold. I'm saying hot is out altogether. Warm, I actually probably enjoy more cold when you're standing by on a dirt road by the ocean, and there's just a guy in a cart selling you some stuff. That's my take.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That was a very detailed answer.
Well, I've got some experience.
You do. And while you were regaling me with that experience, I thought of the name. So this question we didn't mention came from Making Do in Maine. How about that?
Making Do in Maine. Hey.
Our friend Kim Lyons sent us that one. That's a great answer. That's a really logical, great answer.
Trying to come up with a sting for everybody's
Making Do in Maine. Ooh. Yeah.
Okay, who's up next?
Great. Let's just keep on rocking.
Keep.
Oh, wow. Guess what I got? I got a critical hit. Okay, so this is an actual question from someone who wanted to be anonymous, and I kind of appreciate that. This is a little bit. It's a multi question one, and it just came in. So this person's question is. My question is how to. My question is about how to overcome anxiety or shyness and some laziness about sharing your art with the world. I write a lot, but I never share it with anyone. How can I overcome that? They say, y'all share such heartfelt and genuine music with the world. How did you overcome any feelings of vulnerability and or terror? A part of me feels lazy that I don't want to bother chasing freelance work, sending queries to try out to get published, or even join a local writing circle. But maybe it's not laziness. Maybe I'm just too scared. How do I overcome that? How do I gain the courage to be like little children and put myself out there? Readerless writer. That's a great question.
Readerless writer.
Yes, readerless.
There's a lot to that. Let's unpack it.
Yeah, let's unpack it. Man.
First of all, it's really cool that you have this on your mind.
Yep.
Because this is the stuff that makes artists and makes artists grow. When you have that, like, just by the nature of your question, I can tell that you got this itch and you want to share. Mm-hmm. And that's key. Sorry, brother, I just kind of jumped in. Is that okay?
Please.
Okay. So let's just take this piece by piece. So the question is about how to overcome anxiety and shyness and some laziness. And I can relate to that.
Yes.
About sharing your art with the world. So personally, I know that something I struggle with if I'm working on, say drawing, and it is really challenging. And there's a metric you can find online that it's your ability, your skill level, and your aesthetic are advancing at different rates, and there's this gap between them. And your aesthetic is going to advance faster the more you get into something, right? Yeah. Than your skill level, and that gap is extreme frustration, and it can be the source of anxiety and shyness.
Yes.
It can also be the source of laziness, because you can see how good you want to be, but you can also see how good you are, and that can be a real self-esteem crushing thing. And yes. it drives me to draw less, because I'm like, oh, it's going to hurt, it's going to be painful, and I'll be sitting there constantly judging myself, right? And it's not fun anymore. It's not fun. Let me just pause and recommend a really great book that I'm reading right now called Effortless Mastery, that is all about getting back to having fun with art, because guess what? That's what art is meant to be, fun. Now, Matt and I come from a world where music is the kind of art form that, and I guess you could say this about all art forms, but I'd say particularly since music is about performance, it is made to be shared. Yeah. So we kind of grew up in that, whereas writing can be more personal. You don't necessarily have to share it. You definitely don't have to perform it, which is one layer of anxiety that you can kind of get rid of. Yeah. But so Matt and I think by default come from that standpoint, that art, especially music or acting, is made to be shared. So part of it, I don't know about you, brother, and I'll stop talking so that you can. Part of it is just you kind of have to dive into the deep end and understand that when you put your art out into the world, some people are going to relate to it, love it. Some people might hate it. Some people might be cruel or just thoughtless. You're risking a lot. But if you don't take that risk, it's not going to be super fulfilling. That's the risk that every artist takes. That's true. But the feeling, like when you put something out into the world, particularly with writing, and Matt can speak to this, I know I can, when you write something and you share it with the world and it means something to somebody else, there are few feelings in the world that are greater than that. When someone comes up to you and says, wow, that meant a lot to me. Yeah. Okay. I'll shut up. No, don't be insecure about what you just said. That's a lot of what I would say. There's just a couple of things that I would add to that. Number one, when Jump Little Children took its break, I dove really heavily into theater and acting, and I had a wonderful time. Our mother is an actor full time, and so it's a comfortable place to be for me on stage for sure. But also learning lines and doing this stuff. I studied improv here in Chicago. I did plays, and I then spent a year with Mom actually in Virginia, being a full-time actor, which was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. After this barter theater experience, where I was, handed a season's worth of roles, and I did my job, and then when it ended, I came back to Chicago. I could not audition for anything. And I had to take a really, really good, long look at myself and to try to decipher whether what I was feeling was laziness, a lack of enjoyment, or fear. And in the end, I decided that it was not fear, that there are plenty of things that I do in my life that I am not afraid of, that I can accomplish. I think that in the end, I had to weigh the difference between feelings of fear and then just wow, this is a lot of work for something that
I don't necessarily need, because as soon as Jump Little Children started again and I had that ability to perform on stage, I desired less and less to be in a play. It's not that I'm never going to be in a play again, but it definitely, for me, that performance feeling, what I was really craving is I'm meeting that feeling in another medium. Now, there's another example. I'm about to really bare my soul to complete strangers, a very different set of people that I have, about this accessibility, about my business providing captions for the deaf and hard of hearing. I am definitely scared about it. I'm nervous. I'm anxious, for sure. It's a big step for me. I've haven't been sleeping recently. I haven't felt very good. I'm really worried about what people are going to think, whether I'm going to charge too much, just the whole, putting myself out there. But this is a very different feeling. Laziness is not involved. I don't feel that same kind of laziness. It feels like the kind of fear that I need to push against, because there have been plenty of times where those two feelings feel similar, but I've learned to tell which one is which, right? Sometimes your body and your mind are saying, you know what, this is not the best way to spend your time. But then sometimes it is, no, you really need to fight for this. And so that's the first part of what I think about your question. And the second part is something that's very hard for every artist, every single member of Jump Little Children, I would guarantee to say every artist ever. And that is the understanding that you are not alone, that whatever you do is going to be special, and it is going to be art. And there will be people that appreciate it. See, everything that Evan has ever created, everything that I've ever created has this moment of, should I release this? Can I release this? And I think that if you sort of think that every single person has this same kind of anxiety that you do, it might make it easier. That the people that you do respect, that they really do have fear before they release a rock album. That they really, truly do, before they record a song. The insecurities are always there. And you just have to fight it if it's the right thing. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. In fact, I think we could challenge the word laziness that
yes.
The readerless writer kind of used a few times. They said, they were trying to overcome laziness, and then later they say that it says, yeah, part of me feels lazy that they don't want to bother chasing freelance work. It may not be laziness. And I'd say I challenge that, because that is a word that implies that's kind of you're using to be self-critical. Mm-hmm. And when you're doing creative work, your inner critic is working overtime already. So if you could reframe that so that it's not about that you're self-identifying as being lazy or acting lazy, but really maybe dig into that a little bit deeper and say what is really happening. Yeah. If it's a fear of rejection, that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
And like Matt was saying, really getting into the cause and effect of things. In Matt's case with Barter, do I fear this life or this work? Do I want it? Is it fulfilling? All of those questions are really important. And in our society, you hear story after story of the suffering artists, the people who sacrifice it all, who don't compromise for anything. And that is true for a lot of the greats, right? But that is definitely not the truth of every artist. And there are a million ways to skin a cat. And the thing is, you do have to start.
Yes.
And this is something that I still struggle with, is that fear, I have at times a very crippling sense of fear of failure, and that, if I'm creating something, I don't want to release it until I think it is perfect.
Yes.
And I'm, can you hear my finger quotes? And that is the lesson that I've been told and taught is success is failing until, like, you keep failing and failing. Being afraid of failure is the silliest thing, because it's only failure that makes it better. So, but you can't know, as an artist, you can't always know in a vacuum whether you've succeeded or failed.
Yeah.
Right. So say in Readerless Writer's case, you've written a story, and I don't know what kind of writing they're talking about, but say it's a short story. You've written it and you like it, but you're not sure, and you haven't shared it. So, you don't know if it's going to connect with anybody, if they're technical, just kind of skill questions about it that could be improved. What would an editor say? Oftentimes it's, once you get kind of slapped down, that you grow super fast, and you grow in different ways. Your craft gets better, but also your skin can get thicker. So it's really crucial to put it out there and find out. I mean, God, with Jump, it's like there's a whole era of music that we never play again, despite the weirdos who really want to hear those songs, because we know in our hearts that they're just not as good for us. But we put it out there. And then ultimately, we decided, well, this isn't the music that we want to make an album out of. So we moved on. We tried to be better. Anyways, you got to share. Try not to be afraid. I know it's hard. I'm 45. I'm still struggling with it.
Exactly.
So much.
We all do.
So
really
you're not alone.
Nope.
But I promise, if you put it out there, start with somebody who is going to be, warm to you, is going to be, forgiving, but not too forgiving. Like, don't just say, give it to your mom and she's like, "Hey, honey, it's great." Don't do that. But, go to someone who.
Send it to us.
Sure. Yeah. There you go. That's a nice button on that.
Yeah, you go.
So, yeah.
Love it.
Good luck, Readless Writer. Readless Writer.
We're with you.
Read it.
Yep, we're with you. We're with you. You got this. All right.
Who's
Question 3. I rolled the die, the D20. All right. Okay, the next question comes from Poignantly Peanut Butter.
Ew. Wait,
I'm kidding. This is Megan Ann. Her question is very simple. Crunchy or creamy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you have a strong opinion about
I have
this.
a very strong opinion, yeah. I do.
Yeah.
Crunchy. For me, it's 100% crunchy. Though it's really weird. What?
No.
Yeah.
You always say creamy because crunchy is the less value.
So that's the thing. I prefer crunchy every day of the week. But the problem is I have this insubstantiated fear that a jar of crunchy peanut butter is a smaller value than creamy because it's not as packed tightly. So you're not getting enough.
There's less volume of butter because there's more whole peanut kernels. That's what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Side note.
How much? So we need a scientist to come in here and tell us what is the, like, from a whole peanut that's crushed, what volume does so that's the thing, brother. The volume doesn't change.
I know it's ridiculous. I'm just saying it. I had this thought one day and I haven't been able to shake it. But like, as a person, I like crunchy. I do have a side note though. Show of hands. How many people believe that peanut butter is made with dairy butter?
What?
Yes. I know multiple people that believe that. No. Yes.
What? Who?
I can't name names, not publicly.
Someone that I know?
Yeah, 2 people that you know.
Do I like them?
They know now. They know that that's not the case now, but just side note. Yeah.
What?
Please,
First of all, gross.
First of all, gross.
Secondly, I like butter and all, but yuck.
Just think about it. There's nothing
God, just add some fat to your fat.
There's just no logic. There's no logic to that. So if you believe that, please, if you believe that peanut butter is made with dairy butter, creamery, please don't. It's peanuts. Peanut butter is peanuts, period. And salt and sugar sometimes, but it's just peanuts mashed up.
Right. Well, I think that's a better question.
Yeah.
With sugar or without. Because for some people feel very strongly that it should have sugar, or they enjoy it more. At least my wife, loves a sweetened peanut butter.
Sure.
Whereas I'm like, why? It's so sweet already.
Mm-hmm. You're a Spartan, though, brother. You've always been Spartan.
Have I? I certainly have for the past year, but not so much anymore. I chose to be happy instead of miserable.
You're a little more creamy than crunchy?
We always buy creamy. I guess because I use peanut butter in smoothies a lot, and that sometimes texture in your smoothie can be nice, but not every time.
Yeah.
But I love crunchy peanut butter, especially on a sandwich, like a PBJ.
Amen.
Boom. Or a peanut butter pickle. Yeah.
I would probably without the mayonnaise, but I would probably have a lobster roll with crunchy peanut butter.
Okay. Nope. Next question.
Rolling the dice, the magical D20. Okay. Gosh, I'm going to try to name this person based on the question. Grammatically gracious.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
The Oxford comma, outdated or essential? Please discuss.
Can I be honest?
You don't know what an
You're
Oxford
gonna have
comma
to
is.
find me what the I've heard what it is in the past. I can't ever remember.
Yeah, I understand.
So I guess I'm admitting that I definitely don't know if I'm using it at all or especially correctly. So enlighten me.
Yes. So it's the
boring. Next question.
Oh my God! All right, that's funny. And this is actually a very heated topic. I'll just go over it real quick.
Give me an example of an Oxford comma. Is that the comma that comes after and?
Yes. Well, no, not after and, but right before and. So for example, please bring me. I wanted to find a perfect sentence. Please bring me a pencil, comma, eraser, comma, and notebook. So the Oxford comma comes right after eraser. You can also say, please bring me a pencil, comma, eraser, and notebook.
Okay. This is coming back to me now because we had one of our clients, our good friends at 826 Chicago, were very adamant that that we use the Oxford comma.
Yeah.
Anytime that we, that's just one of their things. Okay, right. So I'm on board.
Now you know what it is.
Now, outdated or essential?
Yep. For me, it's essential. I'm just a stickler. I'm just a Oxford comma dude.
Okay. I don't know that I care. I'd say in the world of texting and people can barely spell anymore.
Yeah.
Is it essential? It should be, but is it actually outdated? Because this is an interesting question. It's not essential or inessential. Is it outdated or essential? I'd say it's both. It is both. It is actually outdated, even though it ought to be essential. Because I'm a good speller. I like good grammar, which is probably not a very grammatically well put together sentence. But I appreciate good grammar. I don't like text abbreviations. I don't really like the way that the English language seems to be evolving. It's not like I'm some lover of, language by any stretch. But I'm old. I'm 45. So sue me. I'm 45. But is it outdated? Probably.
Here's my thing. I'll actually dive up just for 1 second, a little deeper in my feelings.
Oh,
I will say that sometimes it is not essential, but a lot of times it is. So, for example, I am thinking about a sentence that's like, I love my parents, comma, Lady Gaga, and Humpty Dumpty.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying that our parents are Lady Gaga and Humpty Dumpty?
Well, if I didn't add the damn Oxford comma, I would be saying that. All right, rolling right along. This one's a little on the deep side, but we've kind of been jumping back and forth, so I think it's okay. Let's see. This one is from our friend Amy Cox. She took a lot of Ubers recently. For some reason, all of the Uber drivers are incredibly chatty. Discuss. No, I'm kidding. That's actually not part of the question. But she ran into some Ubi chubies. And in one particular ride, the driver shared a bit of his political point of view. And she heard him out. She listened to him and said something to the effect of, I wish that we could find a way to work together again. It's perfectly okay to have a different point of view, but compromise is key to reuniting our nation. Do you think that he disagreed with her or agreed with her? And how do we find peace in this political climate today? That last one, Ames, is probably an hour's worth of something.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
But, because I don't know, I just don't know the answer to that. But, and I certainly don't know whether he specifically agreed or disagreed, but I would, we are not, the rock band that we play in is a political safe zone because we have both liberal and conservative fans and Democrats and Republicans, and I love them all equally as human beings. And, well, okay, how about that? For me, personally, that's peace in a political climate today. I could get up on stage and I could start speaking my opinions to a crowd of 100 to 1,000 people. And I would immediately turn that peace that we have right now into something else. I'm not saying that that's wrong. Some of my favorite bands did that their entire careers, do that still. And it's important to me that they do. And it's important to me to hear what they have to say. And I think it's also important for people in positions of power and fame, or at least have the ability to have people listen to them, to say things that can educate and can maybe, turn tides. However, I take the Dolly Parton stance in Jump Little Children, and I think it's the right choice because there is no other place in my life where I can find peace in this political climate today. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? No, yeah. It is the only safe zone that I got, and
But this isn't Jump Little Children.
This is not Jump Little Children. No, I know. I'm just saying. For example, that is usually the stance. No one. Well, the 5 people that are listening to this right now, I would be very shocked if they had super differing opinions from us. Everyone knows what our opinions are. They know where we stand politically. We can hint at it all day and all night.
Well, come on, just take one hard look at it, and you'll see 5, sensitive snowflakes.
Snowflakes.
Just a gaggle of libtards. That's what we are. Come on. Let's call them how we see them.
Let's call them. Yep. So yes, you can definitely guess what our political beliefs are, and so that choice is important to me to not say anything. I'm very scared. I get very nervous, especially recently about this kind of stuff. I sometimes I'm very hopeful. Sometimes I'm hopeful that we can find a way to bridge the chasm that I feel has just widened to a nearly impossible depth since 2016, especially. I don't know we'll ever get back. I don't know whether we'll ever get back to be able to see those things. And so that's why in some ways Jump is important to me, for me to be able to go out and and genuinely have great conversations. You just have to say, I cannot talk to you about politics. I cannot do that. It's important to me. Politics are important to me. The world, our safety, the government, the choices that government makes. Whew.
Yeah, but again, this is Amy's not talking about jump.
I know she's not.
So I get what you're saying. Is your perspective is that in the public you don't particularly like to enter in, like you keep your political views to yourself, and that's great. I do too, for the most part. I don't want to enter into a political discussion with strangers. I would wager in Chicago you're a lot less likely to come across somebody who has very different views from you than Amy or I would, traversing
Park.
around in the Southeast, it's even though, I imagine Raleigh and Atlanta are fairly blue, there's all kinds of folks, and there are in Chicago too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Here's the thing about my perception of, and this is what I see in social media, which is just an magnifying lens of reality. It feels like, where it just seems like conservatives, for the most part, there's this incredibly acidic, toxic language that's used, like a delight in tearing people down. It's kind of certainly set by example of the president, of just scoffing at not just people's points of view or feelings, but just facts in general, just like whatever, none of that matters. It's tough to there seems to be just an innate kind of cruelty and amplification of hate speech that's just acceptable now, and whether it's online or coming out of the president's mouth or in person. So I would say to Amy, if what you said to this person was, that you wish that you said, I wish we could find a way to work together again. It's perfectly okay to have a different point of view, but compromise is key. I mean, that's very eloquent, and what thinking person could argue with that? And it's also reaching out an olive branch and saying that you respect this person's point of view. And if they said nothing, I guess that's better than him being horrible to you, right?
Yeah.
He in that moment, and I think she said that he was a he. That you were not of the same. You weren't cut from the same cloth, so he decided not to engage with you further. I guess in this day and age, him not entering, like trying to berate you, is a win. Do I think that he agreed or disagreed? I'd say either. I'd say he probably disagreed. It's also possible that maybe he was just concentrating on driving. I don't know. Anyway, how do we find peace in this political climate today? Man, that is, I don't know that anybody can answer that, because I don't know that there's going back from this. I think there's only going forward. Whatever happens next has got to look new. I don't. It hurts my brain so much to think about that I oftentimes don't. Because it's just so depressing.
And I'm going to say one more time that I feel that you need to find a safe space, Amy. That's what I'm saying. That is my point of bringing Jump Little Children up, is that safe space allows me to converse with people that would normally be angry with me and discount what I say in the hyper magnified social media world. Which, by the way, I'll also add, I'm not particularly proud of a lot of liberals either. I'm not. Oh, no. I'm not particularly proud of.
There's bullies on every side. There's people making asses of themselves everywhere.
I think, Amy, that the three of us, at least, need to try to be the people that are ready for compromise and willing to find the safe spaces and willing to have the conversations that are not always about politics and therefore are not colored by a freaking bumper sticker, which it is in this day and age. I am triggered by bumper
Fake
stickers
news.
now, and I'm triggered by news. So
the truth is, Amy, you were creating the peace that we need in this political climate, because all of this started with this driver offering up his political view, regardless of what you thought. I mean, he assumed that you probably
agreed,
were aligned with his views, and then you offered something very eloquent, and you kind of said, this is where I stand, but I respect what you believe. That is how we find peace. And more people who can put out that kind of olive branch. And, I think I saw Jon Stewart one time at a rally showing a video of cars trying to go into the Lincoln Tunnel. And it was, he was saying, like, these are conservatives and liberals. You go, I go, you go, I go, you go, I go. We're all here together. Yeah. So let's just, come on. So Amy, you are your own answer.
Yeah. You are the answer. Brother, I know that you need to leave in exactly 9 minutes. Do we try for one more, or do we call it?
Well, there's one that I particularly want to address.
I think that you're definitely allowed to pick.
Okay.
I don't have to roll the die. Go.
You don't have to roll the die. So this is coming from Deacon Will Mason Frost. Mahershala Ali is an incredibly talented actor. Sorry, but Wesley Snipes is the one true Blade, and should continue playing the role in the MCU. Agree or disagree? First of all, Will, I'd say you have left out a component here. And it's not just Mahershala and the great Wesley Snipes, who have portrayed and will portray Blade. You're leaving out Kirk Sticky Fingers Jones.
What?
Oh yeah, from the Blade series, the short-lived Blade series for many years ago. No one really liked it. I watched it. It wasn't very good.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Jeez.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one.
Okay.
Anyway, here's the thing. Wesley Snipes is Blade. Yeah. I would agree with you. Should he but I think it's contentious to say, to ask, should he continue playing the role, or to suggest that he should continue playing the role in the MCU? I think he's aged out of it. I mean, he still looks amazing, but for the character of Blade, and it's not that Mahershala is in his 20s or 30s. I think he's older than he looks, but looks younger than Wesley Snipes.
Sure.
It's kind of confusing. After seeing True Detective, and he plays like 50 different versions of himself. So I don't actually have a clear idea how old he is, because he did it all so convincingly. Which you've seen that episode of True Detective, right? I mean, that season.
Oh, yes. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
My excitement to see him rock Blade outweighs my love for Wesley Snipes. I'm sorry. I'm coming down on that side of the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course we're going to see, but he's an actor, an actor's actor.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to know more about Blade. I don't know who's writing it or who's directing it. I don't know if this information is available yet. That's my take.
So let's keep that one open. Let's just keep that one open.
Or we can see what Sticky Fingers is doing. If Mahershala backs out, I suppose.
Good point. Okay, yeah, let's try one more. What do you think?
I like one more.
Okay. Gosh. I'm so sorry.
We should probably end on a Valentine's related.
Okay, let's pick a Valentine's related one. Why not? Looks like we've got a couple. We've got. You know what I want to do? I want to answer this. I want to answer this one from our sweet friend Anna Fitzgerald.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at.
Okay, great. I have. So, okay. Disclaimer. Obviously, we are two cis white dudes. We are not qualified to answer any questions about love or romance or really any of these questions that we have answered in the last hour. So just like that.
Wait, brother. Can you hang on? I'm getting a quick call.
Okay. Yeah.
This is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, brother. That I just spoke to our lawyer, and they actually said that you legally you can actually follow all of our advice to a T.
Oh wow! Oh great! That was perfect timing that your lawyer called.
And neither you nor we will get in any trouble.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. Awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
that's how good we are.
Thanks, lawyer.
No, look, particularly in matters of the heart, we check it out. We're not qualified. But that's kind of Matt and I think we love to talk about things that we're not qualified to talk about. So it's never stopped us before.
Nope.
It's not going to stop us now. Ooh. So Anna, let's hear Anna's query.
Let's see. I have unsuccessfully been attempting online dating for a redacted amount of time. Apparently, hey isn't sufficient as an opener, and I get ghosted. What should I use instead to lure all the girls to the yard? What about yours?
The boys/girls.
Yeah, to the yard.
I'd say first off, if you haven't seen the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, you should check out the scene where there's a character named Miles who's talking to his uncle. And his uncle, strangely enough, portrayed by Mahershala Ali, gives Miles a lesson on how to approach the ladies. And the first thing he says is you put your hand on their shoulder and you say, hey.
Yeah.
Right? And Miles, like me, can't get it right.
Right.
So I'm just saying, apparently, hey isn't sufficient as an opener. I'm saying, depends. It depends.
Yeah.
Depends.
It depends on who you are. It depends if you're an animated.
Depends on the delivery.
If you're an animated character, I think, brother, you should probably take this one. I did not do any online dating. Now I'm not ever. I'm not immune to that. In the sense that the person that I married, I did basically. Our relationship started online, but I did meet her in the real world. So I have just a smattering of idea of what it's like to have the actual online relationship. But you actually had some online dating experience. So what do you think?
I have. And first of all, Anna, let me just say I do know your pain. It is, it's the worst. Online dating is the worst. Dating in general, actually, is horrid.
Yeah.
Is horrid. I'm so thankful that I'm married and that I love my wife and that I don't have to, that I'm not doing that anymore, that I don't have to go back and doing that anymore. Right. But I have been there. Yeah. I'll share with you some horror stories. Some cautionary tales, things not to do. So I can't say like to get you past the hey point and like getting your foot in the door. Oh man. I mean, first of all, if you're like me, if you're like just let your nerd be your nerd. If they're not into that, then definitely don't be glad that they're ghosting you. Right?
They're not worthy.
They're definitely not worthy. But once you do get your foot in the door and say you go on a date, I'd say don't for a first date, particularly essentially in online dating, your first date's a blind date for all intents and purposes. Do not take that person to see a documentary about child molestation. That is an instant love and romance killer. I found.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Just turns out child molestation doesn't get you in the mood.
It's not sexy.
Well, at least you hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't get me in the mood. And if it does then run. You know either way.
Yeah.
You really know either way.
Actually, maybe that would be the best thing to
That's
no,
the test, the litmus test for a partner. Like, got this creepy. Sit them down with what is it? The Freedmans, capturing the Freedmans. Oh God, it's a fascinating documentary. It is dark. Is so damn dark. Anyway, so don't do that.
Yeah.
This actually happened. This is a real thing. The worst feeling. I mean, honestly, on a first date, you shouldn't go see any movie. Let's be honest, because you're not talking. You're just sitting in the dark watching. I mean, unless you love the movie, and then afterwards you go out and you're like, "Oh my God, I loved it. I can remember when this happened. Oh my God!" And then that could be a thing. But if if you don't, then it's just, "Oh, that was intense night."
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, I've been on dates where you go to a bar and you meet that person and in the first 30 seconds that it is not the right person, right? I've also been on dates where I was like, this is actually pretty cool. I went on an online date where I was like, this person's actually pretty cool, but there was something not clicking to the point where I was like, I can't introduce my friends to this person because something isn't clicking. And once I reached that point, I was like, well, then it's not going forward. That's not unique to online dating. That's just any kind of dating. But
were you ever ghosted online?
Was I ever? Oh God, sure. I mean, this nerd. Come on.
Well, how did you handle the ghost? Was there an overwhelming amount of ghosting, and you? So
yeah, no, there's definitely going to be way more misses to hits. Now, I didn't come up in the world of Twitter, not Twitter. What's it called? Tinder. So that was kind of post online dating for me. That happened after I was off the market, as they say. But yeah, whatever it was, like Match.com. Yeah, sure. There was lots of people that you write, and you're like, "Hey, I'm into Harry Potter, or whatever." Do you like reading comics? Actually, it probably would have been cooler if I had said that. I don't remember. I'm sure what I said was really stupid and demeaning.
Well, okay,
but demeaning of myself.
No. If I may interject again, totally unqualified to do so, but it seems to me, Anna, and I know Anna, and I'm not worried about you on any level, but it seems to me that kind of leaning into the nerd is what's going to actually work. Going back to what Evan just, what he said a minute ago, is that if they're not with you nerd-wise, then they're not really worth it. And
sure.
The kind of the first quote unquote date that Lindsay and I had, we started talking about movies, and then she said Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and it was done. And we just that was it. And then I was immediately allowed to be as nerdy about transgender rock stars as I possibly could, and felt very comfortable with that, because there is that enormous chasm of not knowing what is cool and what is not. So in my opinion, we don't have enough time on this planet. Just freaking go for it, right? Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I think, having not been in the online, I didn't do it that much, but also having not done it in a while, I don't remember quite so much what that specific frustration feels like. What I guess what I would say to Anna, and for anyone listening out there who doesn't know Anna, Matt and I actually do know her. So, we do have some insight into this, because we know that we've met Anna. We know that she's really cool, smart. She plays the bassoon. Is that right?
Yep. She's
super cute. I mean, a catch for any dude or gal, Yep. And so, it's not like we're flying blind here. We're like, hey, Anna, we don't know who you are. But in this case, we do. And we know that you're cool. And that's why we know that you're kind of nerdy. And we mean that as a compliment. And why Matt is saying lean into the nerd.
Yeah.
I'll give you the same advice that I gave another friend, which is if you have the ability to find your kind of nerd, any shared experience type of thing is going to find someone cooler to date than just the random pool of online thing. Or maybe now there's datanerd.com or data nerd app, right? Where you can just like, yes, find me. I want my niche of person to date. But like if you're like, I'm a music nerd and that's what I love, or I'm into comic books, or I'm into sci-fi, or whatever it is that you're like really passionate about, go where those people are. And then you're probably going to be around your people more. So I guess I will say, when you see somebody who you think is really cool, say, hey, but put your hand on their shoulder and say, hey. Yeah, sure. Right? Go watch that scene,
brother. I think you've totally solved this for her, because if there's a way that and I'm sure that she's clever, she can figure. If there's a way to imply that her opening "hey" is the very same "hey" that is the advice from Miles's uncle,
just a GIF
from there it
GIF.
is.
Sorry,
a GIF. It gives the nerd. It is hey. That's my vote. That's my vote.
Okay, done.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I have to go.
You do have to go. This was really fun. And I hope you guys, please, if there's any way that you can let us know whether this was particularly fun. We have some more sort of themed shows coming up that we're excited to share. It kind of helps us to talk about things that we care about. So please give your advice. And until next week, brother, I sure do love you.
I love you, brother. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you, you uncelebrating SOB.
Come on in and have a good old time. Have a fun time with two bros. We're having a good time, never a bad time. Having a fun time, never a dumb time. Down on the BivBros